up, everyone? So today we have this pressure washer. It's a Porter cable, 3500, 4 gallon per minute. The problem is I've worked on this before, but that's not the problem. When I gave it to the person, it was running great. In fact, they told me it was running great because they proceeded to wash not theirs, but like 2 or 3 other family members' driveways and house with it. Used it almost all summer. Put in his backyard over the winter, which if you're unaware, we live in the Northwest. It rains a little here. And now he couldn't get the pull cord to move. He saw one of my videos and noticed to pull the plug and give it a pull. He said there was quite a bit of water in there. So he stopped, brought it to me, tried to figure out what's going on. And the very first thing I did, I looked at the plug and it's bridged over. Well, hold on there. Over 90% of you, according to YouTube, are not currently subscribed. You're watching this video, but you're currently not subscribed. So I'm going to welcome you to subscribe at the end if this helped you out. I work on a lot of machines, so maybe the machine you're watching is going to be something you own, but who knows? Maybe you own a generator, a pressure washer, a big mower, a chainsaw, a variety of things. The only way to know if I'm going to fix it in the future is by subscribing, and maybe I get to the one that you own and can help you out then too. So I welcome you to subscribe, put a thumbs up if it does help you out. Back to your normal video. If you don't know what that means, basically on a spark plug, let's see if I can find it somewhere. There we go. There's a gap in between the electrode. See it right there? Water was connecting that. When that happens, there's no spark. The electricity can just go, there's a loop, and there's no spark. The problem is, where is that water coming from? Well, it's coming from the cylinder. So I think the very first thing we're going to do, because I don't feel like pulling on it all day, I'm going to take off the tube coil, 3 10mm bolts, and I'm going to take a drill and then spin it over. So let me get that prepared and we'll see what happens. Couple things to discuss while I'm doing this. One, you can't see it because the plug hole is facing outside. I don't really feel like washing my garage in this water. And 2, I did put a little bit of oil down the cylinder. Where there's water, there's usually rust. And I don't really want rust to be mixing with water while I am trying to turn the cylinder manually. And the reason why we are spinning it manually is simple. We're trying to get the water out. Now that's not the end of the story. What we do need to do afterwards is change the oil. If you were to look at the oil right now, it'd probably look clean or maybe dirty if it's old oil. But something you probably wouldn't see is water. Water and oil do not mix, obviously. So when you look at it, the oil will look like oil. But as soon as you start running it for a little bit, it'll get milky. Start to mix. What is going on with my drill? It's full battery. Crank it. Something to note when you do that is if you're using a drill, whoops, you don't really want to just let go off the trigger. That can force the drill to kind of kick back and give you a real nice feeling in your wrist. Someone in the comments told me once that they did something very similar and they did not pay attention to that part and actually ended up having to go to an emergency room because they injured their wrist. So don't do that. They also make like a ratcheting end. I forget what it's called, but I have one somewhere. I never really use it, but just know you can make one or buy one. Okay, I don't know if you can tell, but there was mist coming out of the plug hole in the very beginning. Continued until I didn't see any mist. Then what you saw me put in there was Marvel mystery oil. Kind of lube up the cylinder a little bit. I already did put oil in there, but it's a good idea to keep everything nice and oiled up. Here's a little side note. These are the nuts or the bolts that come out of the recoil. It's a 10 millimeter. Now, this is also a 10 millimeter. Has the same basic head on it, same pretty much everything, except look at the length. The short ones go in for the recoil. If you put a longer one in, you're probably gonna hit the flywheel. Don't do that, because then you'll just pull on it and then it will just come to a sudden screeching halt. Maybe you will just get angry, maybe you hurt your hand, who knows, but don't do that. So more likely than not, there's water in the fuel. So just gonna give it a little help. It's on. There is oil. It does have a low oil shut off, so you need to make sure there's oil. And throttle is set to full. Plug is in. Oh, getting somewhere. And this thing really needs a good pulling. Here's the choke off. Yeah, the choke's off. Okay. Success. So we now have a running motor, kind of halfway running. Let's look at the fuel. Huh. It is bone dry in there. You know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna add fuel quite yet. We're gonna jack this thing up. We're gonna take the bowl off. Do nothing else. We're just gonna take the bowl off and see what exactly we have going on inside there. Look at that already. Nice and rusted. Break the seal a little bit. There we go. I say that because for whatever reason, completely forgot how to loosen something up. This has a cat pump on it. That's encouraging. Look at that. Well, I think we're simply gonna maybe. There we go. We'll see if we can't take just the gen out. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. The emulsion tube comes out, even better. Give it a good wrap, tap, tap. Actually looks pretty clean. Yeah, there's a little clogging of the artery, but I'm gonna blow that out, put the bowl back on, put some fuel in it, see what happens. Being completely honest, I legit thought we were gonna have at the minimum just scaly rust in there. I had already started the order for a new carb, just because I thought it was gonna be that bad. And then I realized I had another one, and then I realized that I didn't because I used it not that long ago. So then I continued the order. Didn't push submit. So, I'm kind of glad about that. Oh, springtime in the Northwest. Just giant, what are those bees called? Bumblebees? Black and hairy bees, whatever they're called. Just flying everywhere. Okay, let's go put some fuel, give it a try. So, here's something I noticed. The fuel was left on. Bone dry tank, that could mean fuel into oil. Smelled it, just looked at it. Oil looks pristine. But, like I said, there could be water in there. It wasn't very high, gives me high hopes. Get it? But I didn't smell gasoline at all. So this very well could have been put away appropriately. There's fuel in there now, and so far there's no leaks, there's no nothing. Say we give it a pull. It is on. Fuel is on, right? Yeah, it's on. Choke, yeah. Full throttle. Maybe that's a problem. Yep. Ooh, kill that spider. There you have it. So, when you have a hydraulic situation, like we did, and that situation is caused by water, be very careful. Because like I said, you probably have rust. You maybe have other just junk in there. Probably just rust. But when you do that, remove the plug. Easiest way, get a drill, spin the motor, remove the recoil, spin the motor. And if there's a lot, I would highly recommend getting like a towel, putting it over the plug hole. That way you're not painting the wall with rust water. And then you're able to get it dried out. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, change the oil, check the pump just to make sure. Something you do want to be worried about is if this was outside, water freezes, expands, breaks the pump. Not a good thing. That's beyond the scope of this video, but hydro-locked, remove the plug, remove all the water mechanically if possible, or just pull and pull and pull and pull and pull. And when you pull, you have to pull on a pretty good force. You want to get that piston moving fast. But lubrication, put oil. There's oil on the motor. if you sense water in the bottom at all, potentially even drain it and then do all of this. I didn't see anything, but it doesn't mean there's not. So we're just going to go under assumption there's probably a little bit, but not enough where it's going to be a problem to run it for a short period of time, but enough where it'd be a problem to run it for a long period of time. So other than that, we're good to go. If you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Small Engine 101, and I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good night.